Hello and welcome to this session of Learning at Work Week. My name is Meeta Sani, and for those of you who don't know me, I am the CEO and owner of the Main Group. We are talent consultants and we specialise in helping our clients and our candidates find each other. So we help them attract and then retain and develop in each other's worlds so you can have a really symbiotic, successful working relationship for not just weeks or months, but years to come, and really build strong businesses and careers on that. Well, today is Friday, and it's the culmination of a whole week of National Learning at Work. We believe that the ultimate impact an employer can make on an employee is to give them the facilitation to grow as an individual. And for us here at the Main Group, we feel that for those employees that may not get that support, we want to give you access to knowledge and expertise that can help you grow yourself, whether your organization gives you that or not. So today, for the next 20 minutes or so, we are going to be talking all about your personal brand, what that is, why it's important, why it's more key than ever, and what you stand for. So this course is really designed for people that are at a transition point in their career, whether that is something that's been brought on by the pandemic, or whether it's a redundancy, or whether it's a choice that you look for pastures new. The last year, we're recording this in May 2021, we've had a whole year plus of massive change, challenge, uncertainty, and it's really impacted people in different ways. So let's get started, and I hope that the session is valuable and useful to you. So we spoke about our career coaching opportunities and how you can really develop yourself as an individual. But there's no time like any as when you are looking for a new role, because that can be a point of reflection. It can be a point to look back and think, what did I do right? And it can also be a point to think, who am I? What am I known for? And what do I want to be known for? Am I able to really work in an authentic working space, So it's really important that you think about what's important to you when you look for that next role. But as we all know, that transitioning from one environment to another is never easy. Ultimately, when you are thinking about moving forward, whether that is from a scenario that is inflicted on you, it could be redundancy, it could be a change of structure in your team where you can't work with the new people, or it could be that you just feel that the role you're in now isn't serving you anymore. There really is a process that you will go through that is more mental than physical. Yes, you will leave your place of work and that will signify so much, but actually you will also start to go through what we call the grief cycle, and we've called it the cycle of change here. Grief is something, whether it's change or grief, it's something that has to be worked through. And we talk here about the different stages of grief, and this is a very basic graph of what one might experience. I think it's really important to reflect and consider this because, as I'm sure you can imagine, when we've been in a role for a long time, or we've been in an organization, we go native, we eat, live and breathe the culture. Those people become our friends, our family. And sometimes we define ourselves by the work we do. So many people define themselves by the work we do, the organization they work for, what that organization stands for. You can often become a mirror image of your organization. But where there is a break in that partnership and in that pattern, you will go through a lot of change. I think it's important to look at some of the words here and consider them, because if you are embarking on your next career move and you are thinking about what's next for me, that should be an exciting time. That should be a time of opportunity. But if you haven't been able to understand what you're going through and you haven't been able to work through these stages, then you probably won't be able to be as clear in what good looks like for the future. And in reflecting on what this change in your role and the change in the organization and what the next job you're looking for is going to be, if you aren't able to truly reflect on these times with clarity and presence, then it's very possible that you might make the wrong choice for yourself in the next role. And we don't want that for you. So the first stage, and actually none of these stages are in consecutive order, and neither are they linear. So you could go from denial to anger within hours, or it might take you days or weeks. Very often our physical selves take time to catch up with what we know in our minds, and when we move on from a job, we are very much leaving behind people who are our world. And for that, you need to have the time for that to process, and you need to do the work to reflect on the why. And part of this will also help you to understand yourself and really think about you and your personal brand. So when you do position yourself for the next role or for the next opportunity, you come from a really clear and authentic space. Anger comes from when the denial starts to fade away and reality starts to kick in, and you understand that, yes, actually, this is for real, this has happened, and there's only one way, and that's forward, although that's easier said than done. And your anger can manifest in many ways. It could be the internal rumbling and heaviness and frustration. It could be short temper. It could be lack of patience. It could be almost an anger at a TV show or somebody completely unrelated to the situation, but it comes out of you. And it's important to know that if overall you're feeling angry, and then if that is balanced out with periods of feeling very low, like depression, don't feel like you're going, through something that is not expected. This is all part of the cycle of change, and it's part of the decompressing from one working world and finding yourself in the space where you're refocusing on what's next. Likewise, as you go through this, and the anger and depression cycle can really be where a lot of people get stuck, and it's where people become ineffective and can't push forward. And as I said, this isn't linear. For some, this will be weeks, for some, this will be months, and for others, if they don't work at pushing forward, then potentially they could also get stuck in this. And it's very difficult to create a successful working world when all your energy is built in this anger depression cycle. So do watch programs, do read, do look into how to help yourself, and doing things like this, doing courses on building your personal brand, knowing that this isn't the end. It's just the beginning of the next stage of your life. Bargaining comes into it when you start to really think about the what ifs. If I do this, then that will happen. If I do this, then that will happen. And so often it's our way, again, of not actually really accepting the full truth of the situation. And when they talk about the scenarios in life that are the most painful for people, losing a loved one, divorce, moving home, changing job, these are the top 4 that cause the most stress. So be gentle on yourself. And ultimately, you get to that point of acceptance, the point when you know that you are where you are. You can look forward because you know that that door that closed has facilitated another door opening. And then you are able to start to embrace the future in a way that actually gives you hope, gives you potential, and it will actually allow you to impact positive change in your life. So you get to a point of acceptance, and you get to a point of knowing that you're ready for your next role. What's next for you? You've shed the negativity. It might want to knock on and come back and say, let me in, but you've given yourself time to grieve and to let go of what was. You will probably have spoken to people, whether it's friends or whether it's recruitment consultants, organizations, or even coaches who can help you with your career decisions. And we know that looking for a job is a full-time job. So as much as you may be working out your notice, which is also going to make it hard to disconnect, you also then have to get into the focus of really thinking about what next for you. So how do you do that? Well, I think it's important to start with, without looking at an old CV, start to write down, take a piece of paper and a pen, get rid of any distractions, and sit there for 10 to 15 minutes coaching yourself. And what that means is start to write down everything you've done. You can do it on a whiteboard on the wall, you can do it in a notebook, but ultimately start writing down everything you've done. And when you think there's nothing more, challenge yourself to 3 more. You want to look for about 20 to 25 different things that you've done that you can list as growth in the role you've been in, because you've got the CV that you had, that you started your role with, and then you've got the time in your organization. So really challenge yourself to write down each and everything, because what to you might be wallpaper, to a future employer might be the perfect level of expertise and experience that they need. And from that, you can start to see trends and patterns. So first of all, write down your experience. Then I would challenge you to write down your skills. So are you a good leader? Are you a good team player? Are you a good communicator? Or are you somebody that's really great at driving projects forward? Are you great in the background doing the administration and tying things up? And what's your personality like? Have you done personality tests? Is it worth doing another online personality test to see how you come across, and see if you recognize yourself in that? Are you able to position your authentic self in these tests when you're doing them? Not thinking who is going to be watching this and what do they want to hear, but who am I? And throwing that into the test, because ultimately, if you get that right, you will match yourself with the right roles and the right organizations going forward. So once you've done your skills background, you've done your experience background, and you've done your person fit background, then reach outward. So you've done the inward reflecting. Now go to your family, your friends, your colleagues, even ex-colleagues who might still be friends, and ask them, give me 3 words that you would use to describe me, 3 positive words, and start collating a list of your strengths. Start collating what people see in you, because so often you can't see in yourself what others see in you. So don't be afraid to really pull together what the world out there sees in you, because that's who you are. Their perception is their reality, and how you present yourself is going to be the reality that future employers and interviewers will take of you. And as you go through this process, you'll find that your confidence through the stages will start to increase. And enjoy the process. So once you've done the background work, so you've looked at your experience and expertise in this organization and in the roles that you've done. If you've done more than one role, then list each role and break down what you did in each role. Then you've looked at your actual skills that you've gleaned, whether it's certain tech skills or project management or team fit, different attributes that you've got, skills and attributes and behaviors. List them all. List what you're good at. List what you're known for. Take that list of words that people use to describe you, describe what you're good at, and get it all together, because this is going to be what you then utilize to put your CV together. So many different worlds have many different suggestions for what CV should be. But from where I'm looking, your CV should be ideally no more than 2 pages. It doesn't need photos. It doesn't need date of birth or address. It literally needs an overview. Now, depending on whether you're early on in your career or later on in your career, I'd say if you're within 5 years of starting your career, I would put your university and your A-levels and things like that. After that, it's not needed. Go more into your roles and go more into the depth of what you've done within each organization. And put into there reasons for leaving the roles that you were in. You know, help people understand that not only the jobs you've done, but your journey. And at the end, always try to have references of people that can be called on should you move forward to the next stage of the search. And make sure that your CV reflects the job description or an advert that you're applying for. I know that we can all get into this thinking that one CV fits all. It doesn't. Really look at a role, look at an advert, and look at a job description, and then make sure that your CV focuses the skills and attributes that you have that match you to that role. And when you're writing your covering letter, if that is an opportunity or a supporting statement, please use that platform to define the what, the why, the where, and the how, that you are the best person for that role. And to do that, pull from the job description and then put your skill set, knowledge, or expertise or person fit that's right for the role. So it is a process and it is a system. Well, as we know, if it's been more than a couple of years since you've looked for a role, then the chances are that there's this whole new world, which is LinkedIn. And LinkedIn essentially is a bit like a shop window of you and your personal brand. And it really is a great opportunity to be passively looking for a role. Even when you're asleep, people are looking out for you. So make sure that your profile showcases all your strengths. And I'm just going to walk you through, and I've listed these actually, so I am going to read them out because I think it's really important that you don't forget and you get this list of what's important to have in your profile. So first and foremost, make sure your photo is smart but approachable. It's good to see a smile. You don't need to be socializing in a pub, but you could just have a point and shoot at your computer with a smile, some bright lights, some engaged eyes, and people can look straight into your eyes and get a feel for the fact that you're approachable. There's also on LinkedIn the opportunity to have a seeking work banner. Yeah, it's very easy. You just click on the photo and then it gives you the option of what you can add into that. So don't be afraid to put that onto your LinkedIn, and put your updated CV into LinkedIn as well, because ultimately that will then help people who are looking for great people to access and get to you quickly. Ultimately, that's what this is about, is people looking for the right people have quick access to you and they can see who you are very quickly. That will make them want to reach out. If they have to do the work to get to the information, they may just click out and move on. So make your history, your CV, all about you very clear and very easily reachable on your LinkedIn profile. And that is where your about page can be really useful. You can show your history of work, you can show your strengths, and you can show what you stand for. You can start to engage with people and organizations that you want to work for. And this is the part where, yes, as a consultancy specializing in talent attraction and retention and development, we do a lot of the legwork going out there and helping our candidates find the right organization. But that isn't to say that you can't do that for yourself. So use LinkedIn as your shop window, but also use LinkedIn as your brand propagator, talking all about you and putting you out there. So it's a really great place to build network. It's a really great place to start posting, put your thoughts out there. And as much as people say it's a professional network, and it is, it's okay to be personable in your professionalism. So get ideas from other people, look at who you admire, and follow companies that you want to work for, and start to like and share other people's posts. So many employers love direct applications, especially through LinkedIn. So please make sure that you keep doing lots of direct applications and encourage people to comment on you, to comment on your posts, so that they can also help you become more visible with the people that matter to you. And don't be afraid to say why you're going for a particular role. Don't be afraid to message that individual to say, hi, I've applied for this role. Here's my number if you want to talk about it more. And go on to recruitment firms who are advertising roles and comment on those jobs. Send them emails. Again, don't be afraid to reach out and follow up all the time. And if you consistently do this, over time, you will start to engage organizations and people to see that you are somebody with the right skill set, the right person fit, the right attitude, and right for that organization or an organization that they're representing out to market. So, what is your personal brand? Well, what do you want to be known for? When they say Meeta, what do I want to be known for? Do I want to be known for being successful, approachable, fair, a good communicator, a great facilitator, or do I want to be known for being hard-nosed, not really a people person, and quite shallow in the way I see things? You know, two very different people, and language shapes behavior, and behavior shapes perception. And when you get there and you are speaking to somebody, you want your personal brand to reflect what they've already seen about you and read about you. So be authentic, because prospective employers will really want to do their checks and balances. So make sure that you not only talk the talk, but you walk the walk. So don't make stuff up, but what you do and do well, make sure you talk about that a lot. So get your personal brand right. Think about your hobbies. What do they say about you? You know, really tailor your hobbies to the roles that you're going for and the organizations that you want to work with. And think about what your prospective employers are looking for and what they will see when they look you up. Make sure Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, everything, your photos from Corfu in 2006, make sure it's all clean, have a really clean digital footprint. And actually you can pay organizations to achieve that for you if you can't do that for yourself. So once you are in a position where you've decided on what you want to do, you've created a CV for it, you've applied for a role, you have gone onto all the job boards to look for roles, you have put yourself out on LinkedIn, and you have built up a database, how do you then make sure that you start applying, you get responses, and you start to get interview support? Well, and success in going for getting the interview? Well, first and foremost, as I said earlier, it's really important that your CV really reflects the job description or the advert that you have applied for. If you have the opportunity for a cover letter or a supporting statement, again, take the time to research the organization, research the individual that you're writing to, and make sure that you are able to really clearly demonstrate what's important to them and why you're right for that role. Don't make it too long. Bullet points are fine. Double check spelling and grammar and things like that. It does matter. And be consistent. You will have a lot of roles that you've applied for. Follow it up, make the phone call, and don't forget, make each CV align for the role that you're applying for. Don't think that one CV fits all. It doesn't. And then finally, when you get that interview, have a think about where you're going. Have a think about who you're meeting. Research them on LinkedIn. Do your own social media. Have a look and see who they are, what they're like. Ask, if you've already met people who are part of that organization, ask them what people are like. Make sure you get to your interview. A really basic tip, but do a dry run the day before if you're not sure where it is. Make sure you get your timing right. Arrive a few minutes early. Make sure you're appropriately dressed. It may be dressed down Friday there, but you don't need to go in your worst wear. You can just wear smart casual. If it's really corporate, then don't miss the opportunity to look like one of the tribe. And really think about your body language. We all know, or if you don't know, body language counts for 55% of what you communicate. The tone you use stands for 38%. And actually the words you say in interview only count for 7%. So really think about what you're saying with your body language, your eye contact, your face, your neck, everything speaks. And I did a tonal change in my voice for you to see that actually, if you're talking monotone and you're just repeating what you've said a million times, versus, oh, that's a really interesting question. I'd like to take a moment to think about that, but I'd like to answer it by, you're showing engagement, you're showing enthusiasm, and you're showing enjoyment of the process, that you want to deliver the best version of you. And all of this is feeding back into your personal brand. Someone that will be known for what the organization expected when they saw you online, what they expected when they saw you on the CV, because remember, they've chosen you at all of these stages. So what are you going to put in place to make sure they choose you all the way to the end? is be who you say you are, be consistent in that delivery, be authentic, and ultimately ask the right questions, because questions show that you have been listening and that you are interested in taking this role on. So before you go for an interview, one of our biggest tips for anyone going for an interview is write down 6 questions that you have about the role or about the organization. And if at the end of your interview you've answered all those 6 questions, they've answered all those 6 questions, don't be afraid to say, well, look, I came along with these 6 questions. And yeah, go along with a paper and pen and say, listen, I'd really like to make some notes from the interview today, and have your questions listed at the top. Check out their social media posts before you go. Maybe you can comment on that. I saw on your Twitter, I saw on your website, I saw on LinkedIn. It's important that you can demonstrate that you research the organization, you reflect what you like, and based on that, this is my question. It shows real authenticity and it shows real commitment, and employers are impressed by that. You've done the time, you've done the work to prepare for that interview, and it's important to say, I'm really keen I'm really keen to work for your organization in this role. What would next steps be if I'm successful? And that is a really good closing question, because ultimately it is demonstrating that you're interested. It's flattering the company and the individual that, they've delivered a really great perception of their world, and that you would like to move forward to the next stage. So I really hope that you found this whistle-stop tour of personal brand useful. I will sign off by saying that I'm Meeta Sahni. I'm the CEO of the Main Group. We are talent consultants supporting our customers, both our clients and candidates, people looking for roles and organizations looking for great people. We support you in your journey, and this personal brand session really is all about how you take your future and your success into your own hands. My contact details are here. I will also make this course available to you and this slideshow available to you afterwards. But if there's anything else you need from me, please don't hesitate to reach out. Link in with me on LinkedIn, and I wish you luck in developing your personal brand and therefore developing a fantastic career for yourself. Take care.